From the newsroom of Presque Isle newspapers at the corner of 3rd and Erie in Rogers City, this is Peter Jakey with a preview of the headlines from this week's edition of the Presque Isle County Advance. On the front page, Rogers City High School is the site of a public hearing for Wolverine's landfill permit application. In order to receive input on the proposed landfill, the hearing is scheduled for 6:30 tonight at the high school gym. Although Wolverine Power Supply is in the process of applying for another permit, the landfill permit, the application for the major permit still has not been decided. Officials from the Waste and Hazardous Materials Division of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources and Environment, formerly the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, will hear testimony on the landfill proposed by Wolverine. The site will be a portion of the mined-out quarry approximately 1 mile east of the proposed power plant site. Bob McCann, a spokesman for the state regulatory agency, said, "There's a great deal of work between both parties that has to take place before a final decision can be made on a permit of this complexity. It is not a question of roadblocks, but rather we're still working through all the details with the company at this point," McCann said. He said a decision is expected early this year. Local governments are one step closer to a four-bill package being approved that would alleviate some of their financial burden caused by a down economy. The bills passed the House Banking and Financial Services Committee unanimously last Thursday after testimony from the Michigan Municipal League, Huntington Woods, Standish, and Rogers City Mayor Beach Hall. House Bills 5550-54 would amend various laws dealing with public financing bonds used for community improvement projects. With plummeting property values, municipalities are using more general fund money than anticipated. We have more of Mayor Hall's comments in this week's edition of the Advance. There'll be several financial hurdles to be cleared by Rogers City area schools in 2010. Just as the dust clears from the state's October budget cut of $165 per pupil and $127 reprieve earlier this month, the Board of Education had a preliminary budget discussion at this week's annual January workshop session. It was more of an outline of what the school board has to deal with in the coming months, as a new fiscal budget has to be in place by the end of June. The hill we are going to have to tackle in the next few months in regard to budgeting is about $635,000, said Superintendent Jamie Huber. It is pretty staggering when you figure that amount is 14% of our overall operating budget. School officials across the state have described the state financial crisis as a perfect storm. If that description doesn't fit Rogers City, then there's a mighty one brewing along the shores of Lake Huron. Huber told the board the district is going to have to deal with a proration of $268 per pupil on top of the $165 from last fall. All these stories and more, including all the sports from Rogers City and Posen, are in this week's edition of the Advance. Presque Isle County Advance is on area newsstands this afternoon with all these stories and much more. For subscription information, call the Advance at 734-2105. Check us out online at piadvance.com. This is Peter Jakey, managing editor of Presque Isle Newspapers, reporting.